Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of the North East Non-League Show, our Ashington special. And Brian Shotton joined us tonight. Brian, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Hi, nice to be here. Thanks for asking me.
From the club as well. Nice scenery there as well.
Hi, yeah, a lot quieter here probably than it is. With the wife and dog at home, so let them have that peaceful evening.
But yeah, massive shout out to our sponsors before we start as well. Baywatch TV, Sunderland West End, and Only One JG18, Jade Bell, and proud to support If You Care Share Foundation. But hopefully going to be doing a lot more like this, where we're getting people on from the club and fans, supporters, players coming on from one club and kind of talking about them for the full show. Just try and get us out there a lot more. We've just been chatting about as well. It's quite big for the North East scene to try and get as many new fans through the turnstile, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I will. Yeah, anything that brings the awareness to the forefront as well is a massive help. All the clubs out there at every level, definitely.
And I mean, just getting on to you, obviously starting at Ashington as well. I mean, before taking over as chairman in 2018, you've always had the love for the club, and you had little roles as well within the club at that point, didn't you?
Yeah, I watched your show last night, and I think it struck a chord with us about your story about you going to watch games with your granddad. That's what got me into it, really.
Yeah.
I'd go up on a Saturday. My grandma would go shopping. My granddad take us to football, or I would go up on a midweek. And I mean, it was always Ashington was always from about the mid-90s. It was always like a passion of mine, even as a kid, because it's just, I don't know, there was only maybe 50 or 60 going to games if you were lucky at that point, but you were always made really welcome. I think that's one thing about non-league football that you love about it. It doesn't matter if there's 1,000 here or 50 here. I think everyone gets made to feel really welcome, and that was my feeling at the club at the time. And as I went on, me and my mates went on a Saturday, and we kind of got older and did kind of pick up little roles here and there, joining committees and stuff. And it sounds a bit boring as a 16 to 18-year-old, but it was something quite exciting at the time, because you could be part of your club and have a say and shape the future of what you wanted to do. And following that, it was like roles just developed. I mean, I did started off the first ever, well, not the first ever website, but we ran the club's what was official website at the time. And it just developed. I became, I think it was treasurer and stuff. And then I had a few year out. I had a few other things to do and some different priorities at the time, so I had a few year out. But yeah, that was my story before that. So it was kind of like a passion from being 12-year-old, sort of. So, that's the background, really.
And I think it's the crunch and tackles and the smell of Bovril from the cafe that does it for me as well. Like, it was amazing. Like, going as a kid, I'm like, what's that smell? Going, what's that smell?
It was Bovril and liniment, I think it was. Like deep heat and all that. And because we used to always go in I would often stand at the opposite side to where the players come out. But if you stood where the players come out of Portland Park, or you in the seats above, the smells was just like, it was proper. You didn't get that at St James's or Roke, however you went. It was definitely and then you could play by the pitch with a football, or it was very. I think that's why kids still like coming, to be honest, because you do have, to a point, you have a bit of free reign. It's good.
Oh, it's really good. Obviously, next, even Lavery steps down and you're stepping as chairman. How did that kind of talk come, especially with your wife and family, kind of say, right, I'm taking over as chairman? Was there any promises of extra shoes to be bought if I take over the job?
It just kind of came out of the blue, to be honest. I mean, the club was going through some problems. There was some bad press. There was political games going on in the local area. And to be fair to the people involved, they didn't have a lot of time to do what the club needed, really. I think they knew that, and it was kind of just sort of bouncing along, not really having any aim as such. And that's not being horrible to who was involved at the time. They were working hard, obviously, but I think the club needed TLC and a day-to-day management. So that's why, I mean, I was under no illusions the issues that we're facing when we come in, the negative press and you'd only have to do a search on Google at the time. Well, from now, even looking back at the articles, to see that the club was under massive pressure, and it was people's names were getting dragged through the mud. Volunteers who didn't deserve it were being tarnished and things. And to be fair, that was my first aim to come in, is to turn that like negative stuff around into a positive as much as possible under the circumstances. But obviously, there was massive issues facing when we come in, the financial issues with, that there'd been various things going on. Nothing wrong, by the way. I'm just saying that there'd been things going on with the local authority, and there was debts to settle and stuff from the building and things. And so we went through a really tough period. The first 2 years, really, 2 years. So it was a tough time for everyone. But those that came into the club with us and those that were here worked hard, so we got through it. And obviously we'll go into a bit further where we are now, but it did lay the blocks on. I said at the time, and people I don't think they truly believed it when I said it, that we would have to take a step back, really take a step back, and quite a drastic one to move it forward. Sometimes you have to. I think when you look at, it was well documented at the time, because people talking football will cut the budget drastically. We had to reduce various things we're doing, and it was hard. First home game, we played West Auckland here, and I had to walk in the dressing room and tell the lads that they were getting half their money. To be fair to them, a lot of them stayed. Quite a few left, but a lot of them stayed. And that was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. Stand and face 20 blokes and tell them that it's not quite what it seems. So that was hard for me to do. But if I hadn't have done that, we wouldn't have been sitting here today.
Exactly. That's the main thing that stands out for me. I always remember your first interview for that. I think it was the website, and you could see straight away your passion for the club, and you just wanting to, like you say, take a step back to move forward, and plans in place to go forward with, like you say, the youth section. Just wanting to really get the community in the area back together as one. That was kind of the main thing from that interview that I got from it. You just wanted a family kind of club for everyone to come enjoy and push forward together as a community, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. The most important thing about the football clubs, the people that come and watch them, and the people that are involved in it, because I'm one of them. I've always been one of them. So to get that turned around and make, bring the club back to the town, bring the town and the club back together was massive, because that's how the only way we can succeed here. We haven't got a rich backer or a benefactor, so the people of the town had to get behind it to make it succeed. I mean, at the time I think we were getting crowds like 150s and the odd 200, which was, we saw at that point, we saw 200 crowd as a success, which it was at the time. But ordinarily it would be 100 and odd, and that unfortunately 100 and odd people doesn't support this building, it doesn't support the facilities, and it doesn't support the football team. So that was the biggest thing, to try and get more people in and engage the community and engage the town in. And it was hard slog. It's and even now, when we've got that really good relationship, you worry about the maintenance of it. But I think if you stay down to earth and you stay as a people person, and you stick with, you don't make yourself different to what, because I'm not. I'm one of the fans. I'm still a fan. I mean, to me detriment, I am, because on a match day there's nobody who wants Ashington to win more than me. And that's the the social connection is the most important part of a football club, definitely.
Yeah, 100%. But you can see the improvement happening all the time. I mean, the 2018-19 season finished in 16th. Obviously, then the COVID season hit, but then finished 12th in 2021. Could you see kind of season by season development on and off the pitch improvement year by year?
Yeah, I mean, you saw it in crowds and on the field. On the field, I think Ian Skinner, who I brought to the club pretty much straight away to help with the football side. He wasn't initially brought in as manager, but during the first season, he became manager. So he brought in a lot of youth, a lot of young lads who might have fallen out of other clubs or fallen not by the wayside, but who were trying to establish themselves in non-league football and maybe hadn't had an opportunity somewhere else. You know, we took a few lads who were just kids, and to be fair, a few of them are still here. In just improvement year on year. Again, 19, 20, we didn't have finances that, you know, would say you can push the team on a little bit further. We did improve, definitely. We ground out more results. I think we went through a stage of drawing a few 0-0s at like West Auckland and North Shields and stuff, and that was seen as an achievement, which it was.
Oh, huge! Yeah.
They were good. You know, they're good sides, and I think when COVID hit, I think we were lower mid-table, but I don't think we were in any danger of relegation, and that was definitely seen as an improvement there. But yeah, it's definitely gone in the right direction each season.
Oh, 100%. I mean, just before we go on again, and thank you everyone that's watching again. Amazing support from everyone watching. Same as last night. Absolutely fantastic. I don't think you get as many tough questions as last night, like Brian, but we'll try our best.
Yeah, I'm never want to shirk them, to be fair.
But yeah, any questions, get them in for Brian. Definitely get them through as many as we can. I mean, just touching on that COVID season, and I've got to ask, I mean, I was running the Sunday League football at the time through that spell and just trying to get finances into the club. Obviously, players not playing, so it was because at the time we weren't playing football match. I know it's very different at Northern League. I mean, how hard was it running the football club through that COVID time?
At first, it was terrifying because we just navigated some really choppy waters with when I came into the club, and we'd sort of got to a point where we were repaying debts and things that we knew we had, and we were making good strides. And at that point, the uncertainty was terrifying. It really was. It was like, you know, you found out on the Friday afternoon. I think we're due to play Thornaby here on the Saturday, and you found out on the Friday. Well, it wasn't even after. It was the evening that the game wasn't going to go ahead, and I think everyone knew then that was football for quite a while, because I think that was a week before the lockdown actually started. So you could tell that something was it was going to be a long-term impact, and it was just a case of like, right, we'll batten down the hatches and see where we end up. That's what it was like. It was that desperate. You know, to be fair, there was people donating money to the club and everything, and you know, again, you can't forget people's generosity in times like that, because it was definitely, but it was a very worrying period because we didn't know where our next penny was coming from, and obviously bills still had to be paid and things. So, yeah, but you know, things did turn out for the better, not for the better for COVID, but it gave us a chance to, you know, review and evaluate what we were doing and things, and again, it's part of the reason why we are where we are today.
Yeah, massive for fans as well, because I know obviously, yes, the professional game, people love it, but at the non-league, you'll get that one person who will turn up and stand in that same spot week in, week out, and for that to be taken away for pretty much a year and a half, it must be hard for them. But also with volunteers come in, maybe he's painting this or painting the fence or doing something to the pitch to help out. You couldn't even do that because of the social distance as well. It was just so hard for fans to try and be involved with that possibly one love that they have, their freedom of getting out the house on a weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, again, we'll go back to the social aspect of it. You don't understand sometimes that Ashington Football Club might be someone's only outlet, to speak to people, or might be that break away from reality of what, you know, life at home is. Or I don't know. I'm just making up situations, but again, it's you know, I've heard from people here that have told us that, you know, it's changed people's lives socially, like people that have had issues with being, you know, being in the social environment, and they've been able to come to football and it's changed their life. And that for me was obviously a big concern at the time, because we had people who might have been in that situation. And obviously the isolation was a difficult time for a lot of people. But as a club, we did try our best to, you know, alleviate that by keeping in touch with people as much as we could. Whether it was did a couple of home visits and things, and you know, it was a nice thing to do, but it was tough. It was a really tough time.
Oh, it was, but like you say, getting back up the happy days now. Obviously, the summer comes around. Ian Skinner's still in charge, but in comes, I mean, some of the quality of players like Love Smith, Dale Mullen, Mason Maguire, Cartwright, Suddick, just to name it. Obviously, with the players that's there, and straight away, obviously with our love for non-league football and social media now, a lot of eyebrows raised, thinking, oh, they're going for it this season. I mean, kind of with the caliber players that were coming in the manager that you had there, what was the aim of them players coming in? Was it looking at promotion or going out and winning that league?
I think initially we didn't really want to come out and say exactly what the aim was. I think it's hard when you I don't like putting a flag on someone and saying this is what we must do, or this is I think it was a case of like, look, we've put a really good squad. Experience, I think, was the key, because at times I think we did really lack experience at certain junctures the last 2 seasons, where we might have been in games and gone to teams and been a bit bullied and a bit, knocked out the game, where we look for experience. And I don't think it could get much more experience than the players we're signing in the summer, to be fair. I mean,
definitely,
thousands of games at levels above where we are. So quietly, the aim was, look, we need to have a go this year, because teams are moving out of the Northern League. No disrespect to the Northern League, because it's been Ashington's home since 1970, but ultimately, you do look. It's like looking over the garden fence and saying, "Look, teams, Concert, North Shields, Dunstan, Hebburn, Shildon, Mask, who've gone into Northern Premier, and you look and go, yeah, I kind of want a little bit of that as well, because that's starting to become a bit of a northeast, dominated league. Whereas in the past, teams were frightened to move because they were rowing, and you would have. I mean, I was looking the other day, and if whoever goes up next year could potentially, only have to travel I'm saying outside the region about 13 times, I think it is, depending on obviously what happens by the end of the season. But that's gone down from 23 times or 19 or whatever it was, and that's a big. And I think with the cup run we've had a taste of playing different teams.
Definitely
traveling away and having that little. So I think, I don't think we can hide from the fact that ambition is to get promoted. I think that's been said recently, especially after the cup run and stuff. So that's definitely what we're looking at.
Yeah, I've got to ask you as well about obviously one player, obviously in Robbie Dale that's coming in. I know we had Tom Wade on a couple of months ago now and talking about his time at Blythe and just saying what a player he is, that he just didn't have that certain thing where he wanted to go pro because of certain reasons, possibly, but at non-league level, what a player he is. I mean, what's it like to have the experience of Robbie in the squad and around the club now?
It's I mean, he's actually, recently I think it was announced that he'd become part of the management team. I think Ian saw something in him that we're all seeing him, is that his experiences just shines through all the time. When he came, I was told he was really quiet and stuff, but when you get to know Rob, he's outgoing. He's become outgoing, and he contributes on and off the field. Obviously, he's out with a bit of an injury at the minute, unfortunately, but you can just see. I mean, he was playing at centre half the first. He had a bit of a crisis in defence, and he played at centre half the first few games. And to be fair, he didn't look out of place. He's just class, class act. Attitude and application. And to be fair, when Ian said would manage to secure his signature, I was really surprised, because I didn't know if Robbie was either going to finish or I didn't know what he was doing. To be fair, I'd obviously taken note of if he's leaving Blythe, but I didn't really know. But to be fair, for us to get him here was a bit of a coup, to be honest. So, but he's a good, very good addition to that squad.
Yeah, really good player. We've got to obviously mention now the FA Cup magic. Again, obviously a lot of people kind of go back to the final game, but you've got to look at kind of the build up to that. I mean, a lot of people forget how many stages you've got to go through to actually reach that point. And obviously Newton Aycliffe, Tower Law, Ashton, Bradford Park Avenue, a lot. Then you can see the interest is building as the round go on. Obviously Stockbridge and that replay at home, and I just remember that week, the week building up to the home game, and the tickets, can we hit 1,000, can we get past this? And the social media, it was absolutely fantastic watching. I know we shared as much as we can in our Facebook group as well. I mean, what was it like being involved that way? It must have been just absolutely non-stop for yourself.
Yeah, well, we obviously got a draw at Stockbridge. They scored later on, and it was disappointing, but you quickly, to coin a bit of a cliche, you dust yourself down quite quickly about it, and
comes on quick, doesn't it?
I was talking to the secretary and we got on the coach and I said, look, I says, we're going to get 1,000 on Tuesday night. I says, get the tickets on sale as quick as we can. So he's on his laptop straight away on the coach, and the tickets were on sale, I think, by 5:30. And I think by like within an hour, we'd already done like, a few hundred. And I was like, well, yeah, this is very possible. And I think, again, it showed the renewal of the connection of Ashington and the Ashington Football Club and the town, because the amount of people that came to that game that I hadn't seen for a good few years, or like, like it was kind of the place to be that night. And the amount of messages I got to say, look, what's happened here is just unreal. The connections, we've got a team to be proud of. And that's that hits quite hard, because it's like you do realise that there's good things happening. And I never thought I'd see the day here where we'd have 1,424 people on a Tuesday night. I know it was the FA Cup and it was a big game, but I think it just shows that progress is really being made. And we've just got to keep it up now. We've got to keep up the momentum. But yeah, it was definitely one of them where I did say we're going to get 1,000, and thankfully it happened, because I wouldn't want egg on my face.
Oh, it was amazing. Like, I remember I was at work in the office at the time, and I'm a Newcastle fan as well, and I work and live in Sunderland, so it's quite strange being sat in the office full of Sunderland fans. And I remember the first goal going in. I was literally flicking through Twitter every second, waiting for updates to come through. And I just remember the first goal going in. I'm like, yes, get in. And they're like, what are you on about? Newcastle playing tonight? I was like, Ashington's playing FA Cup. And within like 10 minutes, honestly, there was like the amount of people that's around us going on the Ashington website to try and find out more information. It was absolutely amazing how it just pass on that interest so quick. And they're like, who's Ashington? Let's have a look. I was like, I've not heard the FA Cup, all the stories, and like the interest that was just built up in the office was amazing. And obviously it was then 2-0. It was like, it was class just seeing then other people in the office taking interest. And obviously in the North East non-league show now as well, that you're all watching it. It's just fantastic getting the word out there for you, as it really is.
It did. It really did. Have, that night was a special night. I don't think I'll forget that one for a long time, despite the fact that we've almost banished the FA Cup talk now because we want to move on to something else. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever forget that night. It was the one where you stood and just. I mean, I was upstairs. I was helping with the music and the pre-match music and stuff upstairs, and I walked out the tunnel just after kickoff, and I looked, and there was people like right the way around the ground. Normally, there's not, normally there's gaps everywhere, but there was people right around the ground. The stand at the far side was full. I looked behind, and the seats were all full, and it was just like, wow, this is what you want. This is what you call, a real atmosphere. Not that we don't generate an atmosphere, good atmosphere on a normal match day, but it really was something special. And I want to see that more often.
Oh, definitely.
It makes you hungry. That cup run makes you really hungry for more.
What more? That's the main thing, isn't it? Yeah. A couple of questions coming in as well. Imran Mohammed, what did you make of Heaton Stan when they played Ashington on Saturday? I know the good kind of physical side. What was your thoughts on that game?
I thought they were really hardworking. I mean, without being disrespectful, they didn't come to be open, and they didn't come to like, they couldn't. To be fair, the teams don't want to come here and be open and expansive because they'll know that we have got the players to do damage. So it was a perfect away performance, really. I mean, we missed the penalty. Well, the keeper saved the penalty. I always try and give credit to the keeper when they saved them, but the keeper saved the penalty. We hit the post from that. They broke the other end and scored. And to be fair, after that, we tried. We couldn't blow the door down, And I was commenting. I was frustrated, but I was saying, these lads are throwing themselves in front of the ball. They're blocking everything. All credit to them that they came with that approach, and it won them the game. So, hey, good luck to them. That's how it works.
Definitely, isn't it?
If you haven't got the ability to break them down and find a way through, then that's something for us to look at.
Definitely. A nice comment from Jennifer coming in. Brian hit the nail on the head about football being an outlet for people. Great community club, Ashington, as well. Really nice comment coming there from Jennifer as well. Keep getting your comments in. We'll get them read out as much as we can as well. Just getting back to, obviously, the Stocksbridge game, a win and a draw against Kings Lynn. obviously nice travel down there, but it was great again to see just obviously everyone getting behind the club. It's quite a distance, but getting a couple of buses down to King's Lynn, it must be an amazing seeing the support travelling down to the, obviously right down to the area.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the draw was made on the Monday, and we hadn't played Stocksbridge yet, and we got I was listening to the draw, the kitchen stand with my wife, and when it came out, I think I did drop a couple of swear words, and she was like, "What's the matter? Do you know where King's Lynn is?" How are they in the north? I don't know how they're in the north, but they are.
Nah.
In the National League North, to be fair. So, but you look at it and go, first thing you do is put it into Google Maps, and you go, "Oh well, 4 and a bit hours drive, so you can add at least a little bit more for a coach." So, to be fair, to get, I would say it was anything from 150 to 200 that it ended up at the game was just superb. It was like, because I mean, despite the fact that, I mean, I was invited into the director's box and things, but I'd prefer to stand with the fans on days, because you don't know when your next one's going to be. So I was in with the fans on the far side on near enough, and it was just, I think it kicked off, and I just stood and looked around, and I saw, you know, friends, family, and things, and it got me a few times that day. Emotionally, it got us a few times, because I thought, you know, we weren't even getting this at home a few years ago. So now we've managed to get people to travel 4.5, 5 hours down country to watch with, in what undoubtedly was a big game. But people have spent their money. People have donated coach tickets for other people.
That was amazing. Yeah,
that money. And you stood there and looked at it, and you went, "Oh, this is like something special." So despite the result, on the pitch at the end of the game, clapping the fans, the players clapping the fans, management, myself, it was like quite emotional. And this, like I said, to see that many people down there was just staggering. And again, it's another one like Stocksbridge where you'll remember it, and you want more of it.
Amazing. But kind of just for the FA Cup run, what has it done for the club, obviously financially, but also social media, I would imagine, because people are seeing the name more often, more followers on Facebook, Twitter, has it been like massive for the club overall?
Massive, yeah, definitely. Yeah, obviously we've seen where attendances rise as well. That's been the biggest thing, really, is the attendances this season's been. I mean, even Tuesday night at home to Benfield, again, no disrespect to Benfield, but they didn't have many here. And that was 600 and 602, I think it was. And then Saturday, Heaton Stand brought a good following, a really good following, good lads and lasses from Heaton Stand. And that was 618 here. So our midweeks are actually better than where Saturdays for some reason. I know that was a bigger crowd, but proportionally our midweeks seem to be better. So, but what it's done for the club, going back to that point, is it's raised our profile in the town, and it's raised it on a more national scale as well. It's just, you know, hard work's paying off.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, getting on to obviously the final part is the future plans. Well, I know we touched on it earlier, the Northern League Premier East. I know we had Bobby Moore on, obviously Heaven Town manager, a few weeks ago, and he just said now, kind of back in the days when he used to play Northern League, it was kind of the next step up, and your nearest away game could be just past Yorkshire. Where now, I mean, give it 3 or 4 years, it is literally just going to be full of Northern League sides. The quality, I mean, you look at it now, and I think the top three's made up the North East. The rest of them's kind of between 6 down to 8th as well. It's fantastic. I mean, now you've seen them clubs go up, and the travelling where it's not as far as what it used to be. As you said, Larry, that must be the next big step now for the club moving forward.
Yeah, that's the aim. With the crowds we're getting, and obviously the cup prize money is a different sort of thing, and that's, you know, that we haven't budgeted for that, so we'll just sort of, you know, we'll see what we need for out of that. Of, you know, it's not just money to spend on players; it's money to spend on the club, money to spend on the club infrastructure and things, and there's a few things need doing around the ground. But going back to that point of the crowds are enabling us to do what we're doing. And again, I'd like to think that if we did get promoted, we'd keep those crowds are similar. And obviously, people are saying different teams as well. And that always draws a few in as well. I don't know why. It just we seem to get more when we play teams from out the area. And I think it's, again, no disrespect to the league, but we've been playing the same teams now for the last however many years,
Yeah.
40, 50 years, and I think it's the club needs to go to that next stage, and that's the aim.
It's a really exciting league. I mean, I know we had Rasher on again about a month and a half ago now, and he kind of mentioned at the point, obviously, when he was playing as manager and stuff as well, that there obviously seems to be that gap between the Northern League and then the next level, where the next level above that was always kind of your Hartlepools, your Carlisles, where they didn't always look down to say, well, we might go and pick that manager from a lower league side of that player, where now I think that gap's closing. I think we will see over the next kind of few seasons the likes of Hartlepool, Gateshead now come. No, it is. They're actually good enough to play in that league and taking a risk and bringing them players in and potentially manage as well, because there's some crack managers doing some fantastic jobs now, isn't there?
I think you saw the lad from who played for Hebburn, Sedwin Scott, who
yes,
in the Northern League for Hebburn. He scored a hat trick here, I think. A couple of rakers that night, and now he's playing for Notts County. I think it's Notts County, isn't it? He's playing for.
Yeah,
with Langstaff and things. And he's playing there, and ultimately probably end up in the Football League. I would have thought at some point.
Definitely.
So it's nice to see that gap is being bridged a bit. Like you say, for years the Northern League was a really strong league. That's why, obviously, with FA Vars record second to none, really, isn't it? Around. But I think you're seeing that quality rising up the leagues now. And I remember, 10, 12 years ago, you had Spenny, Darlington, all them in the Northern League, and it was a cracking league to watch then.
Quality, wasn't it?
Still a good league to watch, but the quality was there. The real quality was there. And we had a really good side at the time, but we were just on the periphery of it. We were maybe between 6th and 8th, 10th or whatever. But it's nice to see that. Obviously, Spenny are giving it a decent core in the National League North. South Shields are trying out much to get out of that.
Yeah.
Premier. Morpeth are doing well. Morpeth have done really well, just along the road from us. Mask are in there now, the Northern Prem. So yeah, I think we're finding that teams are finding a natural level now, and that's why I think the Northern Premier is going to start seeing a few more Northeast teams in it as well. As you can tell by the top 6 of the NPL East, it's dominated quite heavily by ex-Northern League teams. So I think you'll find that a couple, or at least one, will make their way up this year.
It's like you say, you never know. You just have that bit of luck where you might just keep picking up the 1-0 wins the last minute, and before you know it, you could be top of one league and then have that promotion bounce where you have the confidence. If in a couple of seasons you could be playing the conference offering and potentially hitting Football League. It's crazy when you think about it, really, but that's what normally happens, isn't it?
That's the absolute beauty of the English Football League. It's like it's why so many people get involved with it, and you can see why people with a bit of money go, "Oh, I want some of this," because you can literally be. If it's like fantasy football, isn't it? Where you can say, "Oh, I'm going to take South Shields to the Football League, or I'm going to take Shotton to the Football League, I'm going to take Ashington to the Football League." It is like a fantasy, but you can make it a reality. That's the beauty of it. Obviously, depending on what finance you've got and what levels of, what levels you've got to put into it, but. That's why I think English football is loved around the world, because so many people come watch it, because it has got that system, which the crowds are really good. Even I think like even National League and National North, South, crowds are really good. If you go to level 7 and 8 in some European countries, you don't get anywhere near the crowds that we get for games. So I think, like I say, the beauty of it is that you've always got an opportunity to push your club, if possible, where you want it to go. But yeah, it can be. I guess it can be quite scary for some people as well if you get in that position. I mean, I've got a lot of friends over in Barrow and Furness, and obviously they're in the League 2 now. They were for a good few years. They were just Northern Premier League or National League North, and obviously good spell, but now they're a Football League club and they're trying to establish themselves in the Football League, and it can happen. It can happen, and you never know.
Happens so quick, doesn't it? But just touching back on the club itself, and I know we had Neil Cooper on us a few weeks ago as well, and he was kind of touching on Ashington, and he couldn't speak highly of yourself, Ian Skinner, Brian Bennett, and everyone that makes the club tick along. I mean, it just has that special kind of family feel to the club. I mean, what's them people like that we just mentioned as characters? I know I see the work that they put on the website, social media. Just seem fantastic people overall.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to start naming people because I don't want to leave anyone out, because
definitely.
it's hard when you leave people out. But you're right, everyone that contributes makes the difference in what we're able to do. That goes from management, coaches, players, committee. Like people that do the PA system on a Saturday. Well, I will mention Brian Bennett because he's a real special bloke. He's been doing it now for nearly 50 years. So he's seen some lows and highs, more lows obviously, but I think the passion that people still have and continue to have really does make a difference. And that's why we're able to do what we do, because these people continue to do their roles, but do them with a continued passion, drive that makes the difference. But it is a tight group here. We haven't got many. I'll be honest, compared to some clubs. You go to some clubs and there's an army of volunteers. Or we've seen it different stages of the FA Cup and stuff, and we've got a small group, but the small group really do work hard, and that makes up for not having the numbers.
Definitely. I know Brian messaged this afternoon, even just like a private message on Facebook, just to wish us the best of luck for the short night, and shared all our stuff. So absolutely fantastic.
No, he's
supported
his
day for him.
passion for it is just unbelievable. Like I say, he's been doing it now since the the 70s, and I think he maybe even earlier than that. But I think he still has that drive on a Saturday to come and write a match report and interview people and actually be a real supporter as well. There was nobody more delighted with how we did in the FA Cup than Brian, and I just wish we could have delivered that first round place. That was the dream, but I think fourth qualifying round for an Northern League team isn't too bad. So
it's absolutely amazing. It really is. And again, thank you so much for watching, everyone. We're still 20 plus figures at the moment, which is fantastic. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe as well to help us grow as much as you can. Passing 500 subscribers at the weekend, which is fantastic as well. Final couple of questions, Brian. Just for yourself, kind of, and the club over, I would say, the next kind of 5 years, what would be your plan on and off the club moving forward overall?
I think maintain the interest. Definitely. Maintain and build, not just maintain. I think you've got to aim to build. You've got to, we're seeing 600s now. I want 1,000, possible for a league game. That would be just a different level. But that's the aim. You've got to say, why not aim high? Obviously, progress the team as much as we can on the field. Reach as high as you can league-wise. Don't settle for anything really. Just try and keep pushing the club on. We've shown that we can do it. We've just got to be a bit more consistent, I think, on and off the field.
Yeah,
we're not perfect in anything we're doing. Far from it. But what we'll always try and do is the right thing. It might not always be the best outcome, but we'll always try and do the right thing. So the aim's really, like I say, is to push the club, keep pushing the club on and off the field. I wouldn't like to put it again. I wouldn't like to put a league on it. I wouldn't like to say, we'll be in the National League North in 5 years. That's it's silly talk to try and promise where we would be. But all I would say is wherever we'll be, we'll have tried our hardest to get where we are.
No, definitely. Again, anyone that's watched now, we always put in our group on Facebook, on social media, and kind of the shows that we do, the vlogs that we do, is anyone in the area that hasn't been to a match, anyone that's, can you say, supporting the Newcastle, Sunderland, Middlesbrough, if you're not playing at home that week, go out and check the non-league football. It's very important to try and get some new fans through the door, because once you've had that first game, you get the bite, and you'll be back again, obviously more midweekers, which is fantastic as well, to try and get more in. As you say, you seem to see more fans come in.
We're seeing a lot
during the week, isn't it?
Seeing a lot of young fans now, which is really that for me is the biggest thing, because that's our future. That's how I got involved. That's our future. We've got to get people in as young, interested and young, and we had lads wanting a program signed on Saturday. I don't think I've seen it in the Ashington game.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think I've ever seen it in Ashington game.
Class.
So it's starting to become that. That I think the school. I think people are talking about it from what I gather. People are talking about it at school and stuff, and we're actually trying to work with some of the local schools to get more interest. So that's the biggest positive for me, is that the amount of young fans that are coming.
No, that's brilliant. Because I know we did our first video vlog round a couple of weeks ago, Sunderland West End versus Brandon, and my son came around with us. And I mean, he plays for the under-7s now, and we went round expecting to take a few videos with him being there 5 minutes. We were on the pitch speaking to managers in the dugout. He got took to the change rooms. He walked the teams out, and to him, it was massive. Like he was walking out to St James Park with the team, and he said, "Dad, can we go back round and do that again?" And it doesn't matter when Newcastle playing away or we got free, we always go around, pay our money to get in, and show the support that we can for any club. I mean, we get out from as many clubs across the North East as we can, but it's just amazing seeing the kids' faces and, like you say, playing on the pitch or at the side of the pitch as well, isn't it?
Again, you can make the difference to someone. You can make the difference. That's what I'll say. Is that people say, "Oh, Premier League, whatever." They make a difference. People don't think it's say it sometimes. It's drowned out a little bit, but especially at this level, it's so tight that you can make the difference for people. You can really make a change in someone's life, and even just showing them in the dressing room on a Saturday or letting them stand right next to where the players come out. It's that access that you don't get.
Mm-hmm.
As much as Premier League clubs are probably in Football League clubs are doing good work in that community and the mascots and things and charities, and you still get that where someone can go and stand right next to where the players come out, or shake that, slap the hand when they come off, and that's massive. That's a massive, that can make a massive difference to someone. It might only be Ashington or whoever or whatever team you follow, but like I say, that's what's going to bring people back, that interaction.
And finally, Brian, just a message kind of for people of Ashington, if they haven't been along to a game and haven't seen kind of what you're trying to do at the club, what would be your message to anyone watching to get along to the club?
Like I've always said, come and give it a go. There's 500-600 of us now, so we're building it. We're building it slowly but surely. It's getting built, and I think it's just a case of like this is your team. This is your team. It's not my team. It's not anyone else's. It's our town's team, and it's there for everyone to be a part of. There's nobody, nobody's excluded from it. Nobody is. Nobody. It's not anyone's exclusivity. Nobody owns the club as such. It is part of the town, and it's always been the town's team, and it always will be. So come and give it a go.
Excellent. But no, Brian, honestly, thank you so much for taking your time out tonight. I know you've been very, very busy over the last few weeks, so really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed being on the show as well.
Thanks for it, and good luck for your future shows. And it's good to see. It's good to see like things like this happening, and I think it does give an insight into what's going on. But it's just good. Again, it's good for you. You're doing a good thing by bringing it out, putting it out there as well. So keep up the good work.
No, and hopefully we'll be along soon. Like you say, I cannot wait for the World Cup break, and hopefully we're just going to try and push the non-league scene as much and try and get many games, do our vlogs. So hopefully we're on Ashington ground.
Keep forgetting about that actually. Keep forgetting about the World Cup because it will.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, the time of year is not great weather-wise because of different things, but hopefully it will give that opportunity for people who maybe are tied into going watching Newcastle, Sunderland, whoever else in the higher levels, an opportunity to come along to clubs like Ashington or anyone else for that matter on a Saturday and see what it's like, and that could be a massive boost and a game changer for the game as well.
Oh, it could be huge. But again, a massive thank you to our sponsors, Baywatch TV, Sunderland West End, and Jade Bell as well. And proud to support If You Care Share Foundation. Everyone watching again, fantastic support throughout the night as well. If you haven't, please subscribe. It does help the channel grow as well. But Brian, best of luck for yourself and Ashington for the future as well. Hopefully back at the end of the season, celebrating promotion. Fingers crossed.
We'll see what happens. It's the long way to go. We've kind of come off the cup run with a bit of a hangover, so we need to get some fire into it and get going again next Saturday, hopefully.
Excellent. But again, everyone, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your night as well.